Hi there, I'm Lyndon Thorpe, and this is Our Way, Our Wealth. And I'm here every Saturday and Sunday, just for 30 minutes, to bring you up to date with what's going on from my point of view. And I'm an embodiment mentor, and I work to try to get people out of their heads. We are always living from an unstable position if we live from our minds. The mind is not wise. The mind really is a tool. It's good at note-taking, analysis, all sorts of things that we need help with. But it's not good at wisdom. It's not good at living. So I'm really on a real mission to make people realize that they can become embodied, which means they can really live from the body, which is how it's meant to be. The mind is a tool, and the heart, for example, and the lungs, well, without those, we would soon not exist. Oh, and I've got a comment here from Anthony. Hi, Anthony. Lovely to have your comment. And he's saying this is great. So that's wonderful encouragement. Thank you so much. And Anthony, please let me know if you'd like to be a guest in the studio, and then we can have a good chat and find out what's going on in the medical world. So just to continue then, yes, that's what I work with, embodiment. And the body has everything you could ever need to be truly happy and truly successful. And I'm sure our commenter, Anthony Jose, would agree with me there. He's a medical specialist. And so, yes, it's a huge mission because people are so habituated to being in their minds. And of course, it's no accident, really. That's how things have been going for the last couple of 100 years in developed countries. And now the undeveloped nations in the world are trying to follow us. So I'm trying to stop it all because it means so much suffering for people. The mind is full of suffering. The body is not. The body is full of truth and wisdom. Of course, eventually the body decays and so on. But the spirit, and by spirit I'm not talking of anything religious, I'm talking of the essence or the energy that each human being has. And all our essences and energies are very different due to the arrangements of our body and the way we use our mind, of course, yes. And we have to be really careful about how we use our mind because it does have an effect on the body. Some wise people say that every thought you have ripples through every cell of your body. And I think that's true. And so, yes, if, as an example, if you think negatively constantly, oh, I'm dying, or oh, I'm sick, then those thoughts will ripple through your cells. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. But if we remain positive, I am healthy. So here's a really good affirmation, which I say often as I go into my dotage. I'm not young these days, but I'm very fit and healthy. So a really good affirmation is this: I am perfect. I am whole. I am strong. I am powerful. I am loved. And I am harmonized. And I am happy. So those 6 things make a wonderful affirmation. If you keep saying them, that will ward off all the negative thoughts. And those very good, powerful, positive notions will ripple through your cells. Yeah. Anyway, that's for another time. I'll talk about affirmations at some point. Okay, so what's happened this week? Well, on Friday, I ran, as usual, the Lodestone Q&A. This happens every week at 9 a.m. BST, and this week was superb. It's superb every week because for the last 5 weeks, and this is the 14th Lodestone Q&A, I've been joined by 2 wonderful guests, my dear colleagues, Ebishila Dietzbiff and Dr. Muhiba Jamusi. And they're 2 real leadership experts. And they join me and we talk about embodiment. And usually I give a presentation, short presentation, to present my embodiment aspect. And then we enter into wonderful discussion. So this week was wonderful. I gave a presentation about, the topic, by the way, was the spirituality of diversity. Yeah, which is a really intriguing topic, I think. We've been talking about diversity for a couple of weeks now. We talked about age and gender and discrimination, all related to diversity, race relations. We've mentioned almost all things, but last week we decided, yeah, we must talk about spirituality, and all 3 of us think it's the most wonderful topic. We're 3 very spiritual people. So this is great because many people are in denial about spirit because of the unfortunate connotations with religion. None of us, not any one of us, is referring to spirit as something religious. It's not. It's about essence, as I mentioned. It's about our energy levels. And it's about the spirit as a guide. Yeah, the spirit must lead the mind, not the other way round. The mind is a tool, but spirit is like a compass. And so, yes, we've gone through things like diversity through spirit. We've looked at aging, gender, race, ethnicity, ability, neurodiversity, and diversity in general. And really, diversity is the spirit's many, many expressions of one energy. I'm getting another lovely comment from Anthony here. He says, our way defines our wealth. In healthcare, the way we innovate, strategize, and deliver care becomes our true wealth: healthier communities, empowered doctors, and affordable, high-quality care for all. Innovation alone isn't enough. Smart strategy and execution make it meaningful. Great. Yes, this is really super comment. Yes, our wealth is not just about money. This word, again, has become very soiled by the idea of money and property and precious stones and so on. But wealth really is about the wonderful things about being human. Spiritual wealth, for example. And in Anthony's case, he's talking about how we can have communal wealth in terms of health provision. And he's very passionate about discovering this true wealth in healthier communities, empowering doctors, and in affordable, high-quality care for all. And of course, we need smart strategies, and the way we execute this is important too. Great comment. And yes, in order to make all this happen, we have to have a strong spirit. I'm sure Anthony will agree with me there. It's not an easy job to make change, to persuade various agencies that healthcare needs more investment financially, and so on. You need a very strong spirit to really stick up for healthcare. And the human spirit is an amazing thing. It is undauntable, really. I'm a great film fanatic. I live in Japan, so every day I want to keep in touch with Europe and maybe the States sometimes. So I watch films. I love films. It's a great art form, I think. And I love films about the human spirit. And the other day I watched a film called The Shallows. This is an amazing film which really points up the human spirit. A young woman is in Mexico and she loves surfing. She has a surfboard with her, and a local person is driving her to a really remote, wonderful beach where there is superb surf. So she's very excited about this, gets onto the beach, and of course wants to immediately get surfing. And there are a couple of surfers there, even though she is alone. She makes friends with them. They surf together on these wonderful waves. And then the two male surfers have to leave, so they go back to the beach. And she is left alone. And really, at first, she hesitates a little bit about being the only person on this beach. But then she decides she'll have one last surf. So she gets into the water and really rides one of the biggest waves. And a very scary moment in this film is with a colossal wave which she surfs through. Okay, you've seen these fabulous waves, and surfers can actually surf through the middle of the wave. So she goes through the middle of this wave, and passing her behind the wave is a very dark, large shape of a shark, a huge shark, really huge. Of course, she doesn't really see it, but we do, which is an intricacy of the film craft. She recovers and she starts to think about coming back to the beach, and she's attacked by a shark. And she is very badly bitten in her thigh, a huge bite. And she swims to a rock pointing out of the ocean, clambers up on it, and the shark moves away, but we can still see it's present and it's circling around her. And nearby is a whale that has been killed or has died, and this shark is attracted to the blood from this whale, and that's why it's attracted to her. And of course now she's bleeding, and so the shark can detect that blood. Well, the next hour and a half is amazing because, of course, she can't get back to the beach. There's a buoy nearby with an electric light being projected from it. She gets very cold because of the shock. She has nothing with her in the way of water or food, and she really is losing a lot of blood. So she tries to swim back to land, and of course the shark attacks again, and she falls and gets a couple more coral injuries and so on. Oh, she has a terrible time. And eventually high tide comes in and will cover this rock. And this will be her end. So she decides that she'll make one last dash for the boy. Now, this is after, many hours through the night, through the hot day, and into the evening of the next day. And she is so weak from blood loss. But she keeps going. And eventually she manages to swim to the boy, clambers on top of it, and finds a flare gun, so can shoot some flares into the air. Meanwhile, the shark is circling around the boy, and it starts to attack the boy. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Don't want to give you too many details because you must watch it. It's called The Shallows. So eventually, she gets pulled under the waves by the boy because the shark knocks it over. And she notices that there's a chain going down to anchor the boy. And so she decides to attract the shark down, and there is a very sharp anchor sticking up. So she attracts the shark down, and eventually the shark impales itself on this anchor point and is killed. It's amazing. And she is rescued, and she recovers, and she's actually a trainee doctor. So that's an interesting example. Anthony Jose is still talking to us here on the comments. And he's asked me a question. In the context of Our Way, Our Wealth, how do you see healthcare leaders balancing innovation with affordability to create true wealth beyond profits, which will impact communities and patient care? Great question, Anthony. Well, yes, my whole premise on LinkedIn for the last year has been my campaign called Escape the 9-to-5 Grind. The future is digital, and the future is also about personal economies. Traditional jobs are crumbling. Healthcare is crumbling too. So we need to find different ways of attracting money into our lives. And so I encourage people to create their own personal economy by starting an online business. At first, they may not be confident in that, and so I can guide them to get it started while they're still tied to their 9-to-5 grind. And then gradually, as things develop and as their income starts to come from the internet, they can switch over to making all their income from the internet. Now, Anthony, I believe this is a brilliant way for people like you and me who care very much about healthcare and people in general to make as much money as we can. And that's my intention. After 50 years of teaching and guiding students to become successful in the global environment, I decided on retirement that I wanted to become a millionaire. When I tell this story, people say, why? Well, because I am determined that all the money, all the wealth of the global community will get into the right hands, into the hands of people who want to innovate, into the hands of people who really care about communities and patient care and so on. So that's my aim. I'm on the millionaire track. I can guide others onto it too. I've been making an income from the internet now for about 15 months, regular income, which is growing gradually. And I've got my mission, which is to help other people do the same so that we can have enough money in the hands of the people who really care and who really can innovate, not governments, not objective clinical agencies who are always after a profit, but people who really care about humanity and want to lift humanity out of its suffering. And health is one of the areas I'm very interested in indeed. But before we can do anything concrete, we need money. We need to attract money. And so I've put all my investments into getting marketing skills, setting up businesses, websites, starting to get clients, starting to run campaigns to attract wealth and attract investors as well, so that I can really help people with healthcare, with education, with all the things I really care about. Anthony goes on also to say, Lyndon, considering our way, our wealth, what strategies do you think global leaders should adopt to make healthcare both futuristic and accessible? Well, I think one of the prime things I want to suggest, and I've mentioned this to Anthony before, but it is taking more responsibility for our health and for our lives. We, in developed countries especially, we tend to outsource our health to professionals who are strangers, who are qualified and wear white coats and so on, but they're strangers. And wouldn't it be better if we took more responsibility for our health and we lived lives that didn't damage our health? One of the main culprits of death in developed nations especially is inflammation. And I'm sure Anthony knows all about this. As you get older, you tend to become inflamed. And eventually, inflammation can lead to serious health problems. For example, cardiovascular problems, diabetes, and even cancer. Cancer is an inflammatory syndrome. And so, yeah, if we could eliminate inflammation or at least control it, then we would be in a much better position for the future to take care of ourselves as far as we possibly could, and to help others take care of themselves too. So my legacy is all about depending on yourself, not on others. I'm an alternative practitioner. I did all the training to be a mainstream medical practitioner, but at the 11th hour, I decided it wasn't for me, and I wanted to pursue other ways of working with the health. For example, healing, for example, body work, for example, breath work. This is my domain and has been now for many years, along with meditation, which holds everything together. Meditation, mindfulness, visualization. These are all the tools that I use to help embody people. So going back to inflammation, if we took more responsibility for the way we live, and by the way, stress is one of the really strong factors of inflammation. Stress does cause the body to inflame. Lifestyle too is responsible. Too much drinking, too much leisure, not enough exercise, all of these things. If we each took more responsibility for our own health, we wouldn't need healthcare, and we wouldn't need long-term healthcare. Another factor that I work with is a scientific aspect to my natural health approach, which is omega fatty acids. Inflammation is caused principally by omega fatty acids out of control. In other words, the ratios are not correct, and that's due to lifestyle and stress and so on, and other genetic factors could be. And so I work with a company, a natural health company in Norway that's called Zeno, and they provide home blood tests. So we can, very controlled home blood tests, so we can take a blood sample, send it to their laboratory, get a really good analysis of our fatty acids, and then we can start to take balance oils, which they produce, 100% natural. They are made from anchovies from the Arctic Circle, organic olive oil, and so on. All, very pure substances are mixed into this balance oil. And yes, you can take a course for 120 days of this balance oil, and then you do another blood test, and you will see the results. Your omega fatty acids after 120 days are really balanced, and therefore your tendency to become inflamed is much reduced. And of course, they produce other products too, which are all natural and work on taking control of our own health. And I really feel, Anthony, answering your question, that to be healthy and wealthy, we need to take more responsibility for our own health. Here in Japan, we hear cases all the time. I live in Japan, and there's a great health service here, wonderful health service. But people are calling ambulances out when they cut their finger. And so, in a couple of cases recently, ambulances have been called out to people's homes for very minor injuries. And meanwhile, someone in a really serious state or a serious accident has died because of the lack of ambulances to take them to a health centre. So this is an extreme case of irresponsibility about health and fear. And I think people have great fear about their health. They're really scared of pain, of dying painfully, of being dependent. And the irony is they are already dependent on a healthcare system which can't always provide what they need. If we were more self-reliant, in the same way as we were regarding income, if we had many different streams of income, and we didn't rely on the traditional 9 to 5, which is now outdated and outmoded and will soon disappear entirely, I think, then we would be able to depend on ourselves. And the internet is the place where all this can happen. And that's what I'm encouraging people to do in all my posts and articles, in my live sessions. 3 times a week, I run something called Mindful Moments, which is providing people on LinkedIn with mindful practice. Just 30 minutes on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at lunchtime, in the middle of a busy day for them maybe. And I guide people using visualization, using meditational techniques to rest, away from screens, away from the intellectual mind, and to go down into the central core of their being and to start to develop resources, or to uncover their inner resources, which are all there waiting. The body has everything we need. All we have to do is discover them, uncover them, take away the conditioning, take away the fear, and get right down into the amazing storehouse that the body has. Our consciousness is remarkable, running down from our brain to the base of our spines. We are an amazing connection between the heavens and the earth. So yes, Anthony, I really think that this is the way forward. We need the right people to attract lots of money so we can help people become independent of healthcare, to develop their resilience, which, by the way, does not reside in the mind. It's in the nervous system, which is in the body. And through embodiment, people can become so much more resilient, and they can contribute so much more to their own health, and especially as they start to age. Here in Japan, people are very, very independent. And we have people who are living to the age of 116. Our oldest inhabitant here is 116. She's still working. She is still totally healthy. And this is all because they are not afraid of health. They are active, they are positive, and they're living long, very long, healthy lives. Wonderful. I'd love to talk more with you, Anthony. I hope one day we can really have a good talk. I'll have to come to the end of my session now, but I'm so glad that you joined us today, and thank you so much for your questions. We can continue talking about this in DMs, or even have a call. I'll give you my booking page so that we can talk more about this. I've got lots of ideas. Okay, thank you so much. I'll bring this to a close now. I'm Lyndon Thorpe. This is Our Way, Our Wealth. I'm here every weekend. If you would like to join me, then please tell me, and I will give you a personal invitation to join me in the StreamYard studio, and we can talk and let a lot of people on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm channeling live to LinkedIn and YouTube, and they can be on our wonderful conversations. So thanks so much to Anthony, and I hope to be in touch with you again soon. Thank you so much. See you next weekend, same time, same place, Saturday and Sunday, 12:30 for Our Way, Our Wealth. Thank you. Have a great week. Thank you.